Kira sits on her bed and stares vacantly on the opposing wall. She's tried and she's sold her soul to get a few winks in, only for the bad dreams. It's Halloween night, but she's not done much to mark the occasion, just to drink and chat with her mates. Non-customed, somewhere unbusy, mature, just a drink and a chat. Her phone buzzes. Your Halloween memories, it read, a newish feature. She taps on the message and a selection of appropriately festive images of her life greeter. It's typical fare, a selfie with mates, a spooky concert, an embarrassing picture of her 9-year-old her trick-or-treating as a generic princess. Sent to her by her mother. Thanks, Mum, she thinks. Naturally, her mind wanders back to for those nights. The good, the bad, and the everything in between. Eventually, she gets through every single image, and it occurs to her that he makes no appearances. Odd when it was he first showed up? Oh yeah, it was when she was a little girl at the Splash Tech water park. It must have been. Wait, 9 years ago today? Weird sitting next to them mark the occasion, but the 50% off discount was still alluring to her financially challenged parents to let up on. She was by the pool, hearing her friends shouting and playing in the distance. All she wanted to do was to get up and join them. But something about the possessive chlorine stench, or the wild motion of slides, or the overpriced burger and fries she'd eaten, or perhaps all three, was making her feel sick. Ready to puke sick, which is why she doubled over on the set of steps instead, her legs clapping against the rough anti-slip surface. He came and sat next to her. She almost didn't notice that at first, at what her head placed firmly against her thighs, and when she did that, he gave a bit of fright. He couldn't have been much older than one of her classmates, but he was taller, gangly and pale, with eyes that seemed infinity wide and deep. Cute though, that wasn't the first time she thought about the boy. They had talked for a little while. He was no more awkward than between them, which put her at ease. Never quite sure what to do with his hands. He had a funny voice, short and squeaky, combined with his fair complexion. She figured that he must have been for Jean, and their topic of conversation included her. Probably something childish and meaningless. He left her without saying anything. As she realized, she felt much better. "Marco!" she heard someone yell, not from far away. She turned and grinned, standing up to participate. The next time was a few years later, a Halloween birthday party. The host's parents weren't around, so naturally her peers had taken the chance to dip their toes in the vices of adulthood, with drinking and card games and smooching the night away. Kira found it all a bit disappointing, including the cigarette she was currently enjoying. She'd had not one since, although she was safe under the confines of a homemade bike shed. The rain was lashing down, giving her the notion that she ought to head back inside. She would have done it so earlier, if it not for the arrival of the familiar face. Here he was again, frankly a behemoth by now. Kira had laminated on being 6 foot in her teens, but he made her feel tiny. His head dripped down, and his arms swaying loosely by his sides. They chatted again in her mermaid-themed costume, and him in his loose t-shirt. It was mainly had to do with the amount of time that had passed. He seemed reluctant to discuss the present. Too much to drink. She remembered thinking there was some strange comfort in seeing his face again, but the persistence in his tone and pleading mannerisms give her the willies. It wasn't malicious, it was just nagging. Hopeful, she made her excuse and left him there in the cold, where no one else had seen him that night. She had tried not to think about that. And then the most recent occasion, after many hours spent binge-watching YouTube videos, she found out the urban exploration on the topic that was interested her greatly. It took her a while to muster up the courage to find somewhere for herself, but when a friend of a friend brought up an old forgotten, still half full dam on the fringes out of town, she couldn't resist that. It had to be there she spent the 31st that year alone, proclaiming her independence, armed with a torch, camera, and thick woolen coat she had gotten from Great Snaps, ones that would win her a contest later that year. There was one night that she had been too surprised to remember to memorialize. However, she came out of the open at the bottom of the infinite spiral staircase leading to the water's edge. She saw him, no more than a quarter mile away on the other side, except he was a monster, towering inhuman skeleton thing whose proportions were too exaggerated to be human. He lumbered uncertainty under his own chin like a rag doll, seemingly looking for something. Those huge eyes he'd gazed into all those years ago now looked like they could swallow her whole. He noticed her now, and worse, he began moving towards her. She couldn't take that. She turned and bottled up those steps until she felt like her heart would give out, and then she kept running all the way home, her camera bag trailing behind her. When her mother saw her panting the front door, she told her she'd been chased by a mugger. No more lonely trips to lost places. She couldn't take the chance. Now 3 years later, she watches the old cuckoo clock in her room, although the reflection of her bedroom window. She's lost and fought in the past. She thinks of a lot of things. She thinks about it when she met. She thinks about her house out in the sticks. She thinks about running the stream beyond the forest's edge. She thinks about the tree in her garden and how much taller it looks today.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Miss Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, please stay pretty.